week's episode is brought to you by Tabletop Backer Party on Facebook, which is the largest board game crowdfunding group on this side of the internet. Featured this week with our sponsor, we have Goblin Teeth by Bluebeard Entertainment and Jellybean Game. This is for 2 to 5 gambling goblins looking to roll dice and cheat their way to the top by playing cards and underhandedly collecting that sweet, sweet goblin loot.
Hello everyone, welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhoundd.
DrGloryhogg.
And?
Greg Dickson.
And today we have a ton of games to talk about. Well, we have 4 games to talk about, but we
14 games.
No.
4 games.
Saddle up for a 4-hour stream.
We also have Jimmy Hudson in chat here. We have Martin. I think I saw Daniel Zayas as well. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. So excited to see you here to talk about Kickstarters. So, we wanted to talk about a couple of the Kickstarters that recently came in. We have some Kickstarters up here, Beyond the Cat. Just really quick. Which ones did we want? I know there's one specifically I want to talk about. Did you want to talk about anything specific? DrGloryhogg? No? Okay, I'm just going to do it. All right. So, guys.
That's the one I have the most experience
I
with.
played Age of Civilization, which was advertised as the pocket box sort of civilization game that you were supposed to be able to play in 30 minutes. And the people who made this game did an excellent job, guys. What's up with your shirt, Greg?
It's a Star Wars quote, man.
Fear leads to anger.
Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to
Oh,
suffering.
that makes way more sense now.
Come on, I thought my geeks would get it.
That's basically how I felt in this game right here. Okay?
Suffering?
Yes. At the end, there was much suffering, but in a really good way, guys, okay?
Yeah, not like in a bad way, but she lost the last time we played it, so I think that's where the suffering came in.
So this game here is the biggest brain burner in supposedly 30 minutes
in the
of
tiny
play.
little box.
It is.
Because I
First
sat
decision,
there
you're like,
with serious AP, and the choices are like so simple, and I was like, oh my god, how do I squeak out like
That's
my
good.
last 3 points? It was
'cause it's tight.
so good.
Yeah, that's good.
So good,
It's
guys.
tight points.
When
I
you,
don't
it
feel
feels like a big, from the way you describe it, it feels like a big box experience in like a little
And
package.
you got to look at this little game here that they have. Look at that. They have little things for the pieces.
It was like a little cardboard tray that was actually, a little paper tray actually, and
It's a tiny cardboard tray, but like the
That's
attention
cool.
to detail with that was fantastic, guys. I have nothing but like super really good things to say about this game. I'm thinking that we're going to try to end up playing it on one of our days that we're playing games and stuff like that on stream. So I just wanted to update you guys on this one because this one like super impressed me. I think we get a lot of Kickstarters in, and usually I'll get, oh, okay, this is good, or this is as advertised, but this was like the surprised portion of it where I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
It far exceeded your
I think that was like a
expectations.
$19 game or something too.
It was very inexpensive,
That's
yeah.
crazy cheap.
Oh yeah, and there is art inside the box as well. That's correct. Absolutely. If you open up the top of the box, there's art inside the top portion of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see? It's very cute. They did an excellent
I
job.
actually drew that.
And the meeples have little stickers with them and
Well done.
everything. Daniel says, my favorite types of games are the small footprint but great production values. Absolutely. And having that
Pretty good rulebook
civilization feel to it
for a little game.
in that 30 minutes, once you get familiarized with the game and everything, it can go in 30 minutes, but the choices are seriously tough. The only thing that I can say about it is we did have some problems with the rule book, I think.
Yeah,
and
but that's, first time playing it.
yeah, it was first time
always.
playing it and
It
going
didn't-
through, and it wasn't where it went in order, I feel.
Well, yeah, and we discussed that, unfortunately, like this one came with some extra stuff because of Kickstarter, and it doesn't cover every single card. Like, it covers all the civilizations that come with, like, the base game, I'm assuming.
Okay.
But there was definitely civilizations we had where it's like, oh, it doesn't really explain this.
What this
okay,
does.
so
Yeah.
But we
But
figured it all out.
overall, super crazy impressed, guys. Super impressed.
It has scenarios in it, too. So you
Yeah.
can play, like, certain periods of time.
Yeah,
It's solo variant too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. And it was just, like I said, a big surprise. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Is there any other ones that you want to highlight? We got like Marquee in, we got Gardens of Babylon, Tussie Mussy. We got this really cute one, Blessed Dark, that I want to go ahead and try
We
out.
got in Lovelace and Babbage.
Lovelace and Babbage, so good.
Love that one.
Yeah, that one's so
We
good.
played that one recently. That was a good one.
The tokens on that, the wooden tokens were awesome. Any other news that you guys want to talk about? No?
I'm
All right.
news free.
All right, news
Get
free.
into it.
And thanks for joining us. We also have Andrew in here and Luke, I see. Awesome. Thank you so much. What board game are you guys most excited about backing this week? So let's get started here. First up, we have The Origin of Species. Oh my gosh, where'd my notes go? Oh, here we go. By Artana. This is for 2 to 4 players. It's going to last about 45 to 80 minutes on this here. And as you're playing it, I'm going to actually mute my sound. Maybe not. All right. As you're playing the game, you are going to be placing down cards, and then you have to go ahead and have certain aspects of the cards that are matching with other cards and to be able to draft those cards and then put them down on the board, which was a really interesting idea because they are connecting the species with that and those things that they're connected to. And they're the people that went ahead and did Lovelace and Babbage too. So, Greg, what did you think of the game?
Oh,
Well, before we do
oh
this.
yes,
Oh,
Daniel
okay,
has
okay.
a request.
Well, 2 things. Well, yeah, so Daniel Zayas wants to say Backstreet's back. All right.
'Cause
He
of
just
these
now noticed
mics.
our mics for the first time ever. It's been like this for actually, there was some news I forgot to mention. I just saw a Facebook post on my memories, and it said 3 years ago today is when we first started up the podcast.
oh,
So we originally did an After
Oh
Dark
my
podcast
goodness.
that was very adult-oriented. And then through that is kind of how Greg found us. And then things progressed. We took a break. We came back. And when we came back with a Greg.
with the video
which-
format too.
And a camera, which we don't know why. Like when we got Greg, we thought a camera would be a good idea.
No,
like they're
that was
very,
a mistake.
they don't really.
I'm audio only.
Yeah, we should have stuck to audio, but it has been about 3 years since we first initially started this thing when you first came up with the idea. So, congratulations, 3 years
Thank you.
of being a
Thank
glory
you.
hound. And I wanted to also real quickly try to guess what everyone's favorite game is going to be.
Oh my gosh, why didn't you mention this during any of our intro stuff?
I know,
It
I
just
forgot.
came to him.
All
Yeah, I
right,
did.
all
His
right, we're
brain
switching
process
back.
is a little
We're
slower.
switching back. Go
Switching
ahead.
Rewind.
Rewind. So, do you want me to go first?
I actually thought of something too that I wanted to ask
Oh
about. But
my
go ahead,
gosh.
you go
Oh my
first.
gosh. All right, so
All right, give me the list too, because I want to predict.
So, of course, On the Origin of Species, Loot of Lima, Small Samurai Empires, and Titan. So I think if I was a Greg and I was going to buy a game, which who knows,
Which
I would
don't
say
always do.
I'd say you're On the Origin of Species is probably your number 1. You can confirm or deny later.
Okay.
And I think for her, it's a toss-up between Loot of Lima and Small Samurai, but I'm going to say Small Samurai.
Really, for her?
Yeah, I'm going to say Small Samurai.
I think she might be really into this On the Origin of Species game. But I mean, you guys have maybe talked ahead of time.
No, we
so I
haven't.
don't know.
We did not talk
We
ahead of
did-
time on
I don't
purpose because I wanted to
actually-
guess.
I don't actually talk to Gloryhogg during
Unless
the
the
week.
camera's on.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
it. That's all I do.
Only on camera. So what are you thinking?
I think you might be most excited about the Small Samurai Empires.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Dr. Gloryhogg for Small Samurai Empires and Greg for Titan.
All right. All right.
Even though it's a big
Even with that
price
price
one,
tag?
yeah, it's still a worker placement game that it's got a lot of meat to it.
I love that Daniel brought back Doug.
Yeah, he was talking about Doug on Facebook too. I was dying.
And hello, Battle Cry. Thank you for
We
joining
decided
us.
we're going to set up a petition to get your name legally changed to Doug.
And
Doug
Ro-
Duggerson.
All right.
I love the name Doug. And Robo wants to know if this first game is going to be a loss or a dar win. See what he did there?
He always does it. We have repeatedly asked him to stop, but he always does it.
All right. Are we do the Backstreet back all right? No,
All right.
we're not. We're not.
Backstreet's back.
All right. All right. That's
Okay,
all
we
you
did it.
guys get today. That's all
That's
you guys
one.
get.
Okay. All right. Enough
First one is
clowning
always
around.
free.
Okay.
Hello, Charity Board Gamer. Thanks for
Battle
joining us.
cry.
Are you guys ready to start the show today?
Can we actually
Yes.
start the show
Are we
now?
ready to start
Yeah,
the
let's
show?
do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
We're 8 minutes in or
First
whatever. Now we
up-
can start.
First up, we have On the Origin of Species. This is by Artana. It's for 2 to 4 players. It's going to last about 45 to 80 minutes. Then this particular game, you're going to be placing cards on the board and then relating those species to other species with the little artifacts that they have on the cards, and then trying to pull those or draft those from the side there and then complete this and score points. And I believe there's special point cards that you can get with the compilation of species here.
And there's like a timing element too, where you want the ship to hit certain key
Oh,
parts
right.
on the board,
Right.
You'll get points if it
because you
discovers
can
the
score.
species.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like there's going to be like a timing element
This
as
is
well.
very deja vu. I feel like we've watched this video before.
That's weird.
Oh,
That's odd.
huh. Really?
Huh. Okay.
My impression was, like you said, Artana, right? So it's the
Yes.
same publisher as Lovelace and Babbage, not the same designers though.
No.
But I'm kind of like riding high on like Lovelace and Babbage and like the scientific.
What about Speakeasy Blues? They did that one also.
Oh, okay.
They did do Speakeasy Blues.
I don't think I ever got a chance to play that one.
Oh,
Actually,
she played it and liked
Yeah.
it.
But I was just saying that I'm kind of riding high on that like real science kind of historical science theme, and so instantly I was like really excited about the theme here. Like my wife's an evolutionary biologist, like Darwin.
Was I right? Is this your number one?
So I don't think so, because it's not the same designers; it's new designers,
Okay.
and the campaign itself. Maybe this is a dumb reason to judge it on. It felt kind of lacking to me. I don't know. It just there wasn't a lot of like reviews. There wasn't a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of like quotes. You know what I'm talking about? Like pull quotes from
Okay.
people and stuff. So I don't know. It feels like a little thrown together. But I started very excited about the theme, and as I went through the campaign, think I was less and less excited.
Really?
Is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. All right.
But I want to love it because it seems like they trying to pack a lot into a small box, which I appreciate, and I'm really hot on the theme.
I
so.
believe with this one, it was created by 2 mathematicians, was it?
Oh, I don't know. I
Yes.
might have missed
Yeah,
that.
I was.
Yeah, it's
I
two
was reading.
Definitely
mathematicians.
first-time designers, if
They're
I'm
both
not mistaken.
mathematicians that work in statistics, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't live near each other, but their love of math and this game.
Brought them together.
Yeah.
Math and board games. Ooh.
What did you guys think? What was your first impressions?
Dr.
Well,
Gloryhougg?
so mine, funny enough, is like I also went into school for biology and everything, and so I love evolution and Darwin and the whole
Yeah.
story and crossing and like making new species and everything. And I've always thought I could make my own species. Anyways, side story. Mad science aside, I've
Someone's
always
been
been
watching too
island-
much Human Centipede over here.
Island
no,
of
that's not
Doctor.
the kind of species I want to make.
Yeah.
But there's so much like and that's always been my favorite part about like space games or space movies and stuff is seeing the evolution of different species
Right.
that would have happened on a different planet with different rules.
Right.
So that's always been like something that's really excited me. I love biology. So for me, like the theme alone drew me in for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm hottest on the theme. Like that's the part that has me most kind of like enraptured and hoping for the best.
Well, and I love that Artana has kind of made that like their mainstay, because I believe they did Tesla and Edison as well.
They did.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I think
Tesla
you're right.
versus Edison.
Yeah,
and then
in Speakeasy
duel
Blues
and
was
stuff.
still set like in a time period.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I love the fact that they're
Lovelace
bringing that
Babbage.
particular stuff and just
Yeah.
in this game, I mean, they're still trying to be informative as well. They're
Yeah.
relating the different species together by symbols on the cards and everything, but I'm sure if you go through and you actually look at the cards, that those are species that relate to each other. And I
Sure.
love the
Right.
fact that they bring that into their games as an overall thing where I can go ahead and show this to a kid or bring this into a classroom, and their kids or people are going to get something out of that game as well,
Right,
you
right.
know?
And if nothing else, it's a good jumping off point where someone plays this, they might go, "Oh, I want to like learn more about this." You know what I mean?
Right. What do you guys think about the price? This is like a $25 game.
Yeah, it's cheap.
I assume
I'm
it's the same kind of size box as Lovelace and Babbage, but I'm not sure.
$25.
It's got to be a little bit bigger. I bet it's got to be bigger because it's got.
It's
I
got
mean,
a board, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like quad fold or what. See, here's what I'm talking about though. There's one video, right?
Yeah, one video of it being played, but there are some quotes of people playing it and
Yeah,
everything.
it just felt like a little sparse. Like it made me wonder if they kind of threw it together quickly. You know?
Okay.
Okay, see, I don't feel like it was thrown together quickly. I think that they kept it light for a game that could be very heavy in this type of genre, right? Like biology, they could have gotten like super intense with it, but they kept it almost like wingspan light, where it's like
yeah.
you put cubes on this, we'll give you these 3 types of resources. Those resources help you discover new species. You get some victory points. You try to get the ship to hit it at the right time, so then you could be the one who discovered that species, get some more points. In the end, it is a Euro, like.
Yeah, a light Euro.
So some of our commenters it just went up. Okay. Yeah, I'm with Greg on this campaign, but I want the game to be good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Luke says, I really like the theme of this game, but I'm not sure about the gameplay. I'm looking forward to another Kickstarter genotype. And let's see
Alan's
here.
late. Thanks, Alan.
We tried to wait, Alan.
Yeah,
we
You missed
stalled as
it,
long
Alan.
as we could with predictions and all kinds of useless shenanigans.
Yeah,
but
we had some news.
Now-
I sang a little bit.
Also, guys, Tesla, this is really important. Tesla versus Edison is an epic rap battle. You can look it up on the internet.
Yes.
Go watch it. It's amazing, okay? Super important. I agree with you guys. I love the look of this game. I love the theme of this game. I'm super excited about it. As I went through the mechanics of this game, the mechanics for me felt kind of flat. And I was like, all right, is this a game that I need to actually play in person to get the actual feel of the game and how exciting it is having the boat move through there while also trying to complete these objectives and stuff like that, and then make the relations to all the animals and stuff like that. And it was hard to have that conveyed in what was offered on the Kickstarter. So for me, this is kind of sad. I don't know. I think this might be a pass for me, even though it's $25. I mean, it's $25 though. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I kind of felt the same way. Like it's not that expensive, but
right.
Otherwise, it's still $25. What's the point of buying it, putting it on the shelf,
and then
you
not
play
playing
it once? I mean, it doesn't matter how cheap it is. If you're just not going to play it, it's still kind of pointless to grab it. Now, I don't know though. I like I think Daniel said, I want it to be good. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's a great jumping off point for educators and teachers and stuff.
Right.
To tackle this like moment in history and all that kind of stuff. But I just felt like I scrolled down. I'm like, that's it. That's the whole campaign page. That's all there is. I don't know. It wasn't enough there to grab me, and I was concerned that like they just kind of threw it together.
Right. And yep, Ellen, we are doing On the Origin of Species, and Martin says it feels like a try before I buy.
I endorse Martin's.
Yeah. So you agree? Try before you buy?
I think so.
Dr. Gloryhogg?
I like it.
You're in.
Yeah,
is this your one?
Is this your number one?
Yeah, this was my number one pick.
I thought it was gonna be her number one.
No,
That's so funny.
I'm the biology nerd in our family for sure. Like we talked about, like
I know she
you and
likes
your
science
like
themed
me and
things,
your
too.
wife
Oh
have like
my
the
gosh.
same interests, and
Yeah.
we don't know about you.
No, I love this.
No,
theme.
you don't. So I don't know. I just really love Darwin and like the way he kind of discovered like the different beak sizes equate to like what the different foods and the specialization. I just love that idea so much that for $25, I'm willing to definitely give it a shot. The gameplay seems like it's going to play out kind of like Tricky Tides, where it's like I'm placing cubes down, but it's more going to be about moving the ship around and triggering things at the right time and everything. Seems like it would still be interesting, but light. It'll definitely be a lighter game. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm expecting it to be a light game. I'm not expecting it to be like super crazy.
But
there's some upgrades. I don't know if there's exclusives, but I know there's upgrades that are like, wooden ship is like a custom cut instead of just a normal thing. For like $25, I feel like it's an easy one to go in on if you like the theme. Worst case scenario, like you said, if you don't like it, you and your wife, you would have spent $25 going to the movies.
No, you're
So
not
if you
wrong.
play, so if you
You're
play
not
it,
wrong.
if you play it
But
more
with that
than
justification, do I buy every game that costs $25? I mean, you still have to be
Yes.
selective.
every
Well,
game,
here's the
that's the
thing.
only games you buy, right, Greg?
No, it's not.
So
I
here's
buy some that are 30 or 35.
Whoa.
here's the
Deluxe,
thing.
35.
If you feel it's a light game, it's $25. Is this like an excellent educational game then? Because you can get it very inexpensively. A teacher can go ahead and put it out and not be afraid that it's going to get super damaged and they're out a bunch of money or anything. But it's going to be super educational and fun and light enough to keep people who are non-gamers excited about that.
Could be. It's hard to tell. I mean, there might be enough here that it seems light to gamers.
Yeah.
But to like non-gamer or high school students or whatever, they might be like, wait, what is
so
this?
like a nerdy gateway where it's like a gateway, but for your like more, I don't know, your more friends that are just a little bit that aren't going to want to play something that has like dice rolling in it. They're
Right.
like, I mean, this seems like a gateway Euro to me that has a cool
Yeah,
theme that I
it
feel
seems like it.
it'd be
But
a
it's
good one
hard
to get
to
people
tell
into.
from the campaign how heavy or light it's going to feel. Like
Okay.
it's clearly not going to be heavy, but there are like special abilities you're trying to access and
Right.
stuff,
And
and
there's some set
timing those
collection.
out might be like really tricky. I mean, it's hard to tell
There's
until
like
you've
set
really
collection
played
of
it.
getting like the different books in order to score like the 7 points at the end, and you have to get
Yeah.
maps to
It
unlock
seems
access
too
to some
involved
of them.
for non-gamers, and maybe I wouldn't say too light for gamers, but on the light side for gamers.
So I think it'd be easy to explain because it's only like you're only doing two things.
Yeah.
You're either exploring or you're
And
finding a new species.
To answer the charity board gamer,
Yeah.
I assume it will be. I've seen Lovelace and Babbage available in
Yeah.
some of the online stores and stuff, and that's the
There's
same
some how to
company.
play videos and stuff, and then there is some Man vs. Meeple
There's
playing
one
it,
video.
where they did a playthrough.
but it was when they
Yeah.
were doing like their big Essen one, so they were playing like I
It's
don't know,
just
50
a
different
segment.
games.
all
yeah.
of them,
In
yeah.
a longer video. That's the
Yeah.
only video. So I'm like, why didn't they send this out to more people? And those kinds of things
Well,
that
and with
make you wonder.
the company change, because I believe they got bought
Yeah.
out, there might have been some issues with
Yeah.
going back and forth
Timing.
and timing and changing
It might have
things
been
and
better
stuff
just
with
to
that.
hold off and like
I don't
get
know.
this
Maybe.
out there more before you launch. I don't know.
I'm
It's
willing
an
to give it a
interesting game.
shot.
So you're
Yeah, I would give it a shot. This is-
25 bucks. You're good.
Yeah, this is the one that
I
was
would
most
love it
excited
if you
about.
guys bought
Alright,
it because
alright.
I want it to be amazing and I love the theme. So
Out of all of
yeah.
them, this is the one I was most excited about. So both of
That's
you
cool.
failed as far as
I'm
picking my favorite.
sorry.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
They're bad.
It's like we don't even know you.
I literally put this list together. Hey, and
Oh.
side note, when I looked at this, I think it was like last Monday. There was 3, if I remember right, 3 different Darwin-esque games. Because there was another Darwin game, and then there was another one that I saw too. So there was like 3 Darwin games going on in Kickstarter right now.
Darwin is like
might have
so
ended.
hot right now. I
Oh,
mean,
just stop. But there was a lot. There was a lot of Darwin games, and this was my top pick out of all of them. I was like, oh, this is
I
the
like
one.
the real science themed games. Like
All
we have
right.
some others from Genius Games. They do the same thing, you know, where they kind of focus on real science and try to make games around
Versus just
teaching
fantasy.
ideas. Yeah, versus science fiction. I mean, so I hope this is a new trend in gaming.
I hope so too.
That'd
That
be
would be
awesome.
fantastic. They're like, oh my god, geeks like geeky things.
Who would have guessed?
That's crazy. No, I would not be disappointed getting this for $25, but it was not at the top of my list of the games that
know
we were
it's the
going to do
top
this
of your
week.
list, and
Oh
then-
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
okay, moving on.
I'm okay with one of them. The other one I'm not.
Oh no. Oh no.
Drama. Stay tuned for drama.
Moving on, we have Loot of Lima. This is by BoardGameTables.com. This is going to
I
be
love this
for 1
video.
to 5 players, and it's going to last about 60 to 90 minutes. This is, gosh, it's like a hidden. I want to say hidden deduction game, but it's not a deduction game as
It is
far
a
as like a
deduction
roll
game.
deduction game, but you're like trying to find something on the board. Basically, you're placing all these tokens on the board, and then some of them are getting left out, and then you're trying to find where the hidden treasure is located, okay?
Right, you're all a
It's-
bunch of pirates.
It's like
trying
that
to
Treasure
work
Island
together.
game that just came out like in the last, I don't know, 6-9 months.
Oh my
You
gosh,
guys
it's
ever play that one?
totally different than the Treasure Island game, because that one's like people on the
No,
board
but
running
there's
around.
still stuff on the board. You're trying to like narrow in on where
Yes,
it's located.
It does have a board. I agree.
I know. Come on, isn't it?
And there is treasure on an island.
That
in
is
this,
true.
technically.
Yeah, they're
It-
both pirates. They're both trying to like figure out where something's located on a board.
It is a
Yeah.
board with an
They're
island on it,
similar. Come on.
and pirates are
Am
involved.
I naming the wrong game? Wasn't it Treasure Island where you like draw on the board
Yeah.
and stuff? Yeah, yeah.
But you cannot
Yeah,
draw
yeah.
on this board.
Okay, I didn't say they were exactly the same. I just said they had a similar theme. Holy crap. It's going to be one of those days.
Oh gosh, this is. I feel like it's actually more kind of like a logic puzzle, or if you guys have played Sleuth. So,
Yeah.
Greg, what are your first impressions of this game?
It looks like a great production, but I'm always just kind of out on deduction games. It feels too much like. I mean, I'll win them sometimes too. Like we played Awkward Guests. I won the game. It's not like I don't get them, but they just feel like work. You know, that doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
So I would have just swayed anyone from checking it out. I think the theme is cool, but I'm just not a deduction person.
I think you made a good point where you feel like you almost have to justify why you don't like a deduction game because people just, oh, it's because you don't get
You
it. You're
must suck.
like, you're like, no, I get it. It's just not my favorite one.
Right.
I'll spend 2 hours trying to figure out like a magic combination for Magic the Gathering, or
Yeah.
or like to
Or I'll play
figure
Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective for 4 hours straight and try
Right,
to solve
or-
the mystery. But
or like try to like right. I like mystery shows and stuff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different things I like to do that involve a lot of logic, but I don't really enjoy them as much as games. They do feel a little bit too much like I'm just doing like one of those logic puzzles
Yeah.
from school where they're like, here's a fun one, and you're like, I don't want to do this. They're like, it's a half day, you're doing it. And you're like, okay, like,
I don't
Yeah.
care that a train left from Chicago
well,
and another one
it's
left
even
from
worse.
Atlanta.
It's like Billy, Susie, and Mary all want to get ice cream, but this person can't have this ice cream, and this person already had this ice cream yesterday. So you're like checking out the little box.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what they want.
I don't care.
Just let them have ice cream.
Go get a burrito instead.
So
I love
Yeah,
logic
so
puzzles. I love
personally,
logic puzzles, guys.
I know she loves logic puzzles. She'll
My
do
wife
them.
does too.
She'll do them in bed, like before falling asleep. I do not enjoy these types of games. It does look cool. I'll play it, but it's definitely not something that I would ever play on my own without her.
Okay, and before we continue, my first impression was I'm watching the video and they're showing little shots of the game and there's a score sheet. Did you notice this?
Mm-hmm.
And it says Greg, Kat, Alex. I'm like,
What?
wait, what is
Did it
going on
really?
here? Yes.
I didn't even see
So
that.
they took a clip from Dan's video that he made and he put our names
Oh.
in. But I was like, oh, my name's on the top. Oh wait, Kat's name. Wait, Alex. Wait, what's going on here?
You're like, wait a second, what's
How did I
happening here?
miss that?
Oh
and then
my
for a
God,
second
that's
I was like, did I
awesome.
play this game? And I forgot it, but I don't think so. I think he just filled in our names. But anyway,
So that was Dan review. That was
they
Game Boy
took a
Geek
cut
reviewing
from
it.
they cut a piece out of Dan's video.
You're straight up like, did I play this game
Do
before?
I have
What's
Alzheimer's?
happening?
Is this
Hold
the moment
on.
I find out I have Alzheimer's?
You do, like we talked about before. Stephanie pays us to have you on the show, but it's not a real show. We're not actually broadcasting anything.
I'm sorry, what were you just saying? I remember you said something, but I forgot what it was.
Let the fear flow through you.
Anyway, if
All right.
that was my first impression. I'm like, my name's on this. What's going on?
So I'm a
That's great.
huge fan of logic puzzles,
Yes.
and I love Sleuth. And going through our comments here, I'm a fan of deduction games. Luke says played Cryptid last week, loved that. I'm in for this one. I think that's probably a smart move because this is going to be in that same
Yeah.
genre. Ben is saying the prescription theme Kickstarter video is throwing me off, and I totally agree with that as well.
I liked the video. I thought it was creative.
It is creative, but it just didn't. Like, I wanted to see more game stuff, and maybe
Yeah.
that's hard to do
Yeah,
in
you
a
always
game
wanna
like
see
this.
more game stuff.
But they
Yeah.
got videos later down at least that show it,
Yeah.
show you how it works, including Dan's.
And Alan says Greg tried it, but maybe you just don't remember it.
I might not.
Yeah.
This
No,
is-
I actually checked BGG because I was like, did I play this? And I do not have a logged play of this game. So unless I F that up, I have not played this game.
Dr. Gloryhogg, what were your
Well-
impressions? Did you say what you?
Yeah, so I just think that this is one of those kind of polarizing games. If you like deduction games, you'll probably enjoy it. If you don't, which Greg and I are very similar in that aspect, that's one thing that we both always agree on, it's just going to be a pass for us.
Okay, so for this particular game, what you're doing with those dice is you're rolling the dice, and the dice look very cute. They have the theme involved with
Yeah,
it
cool
and
dice.
everything, yeah. And then from those dice, you're going to be able to pick the questions that you can ask people of the items that they have, okay? And the items that they have are places that they've looked on the map that they know the treasure is not at. So you're trying to find that missing treasure on the map. And the way that we were talking about how it relates to sleuth or very sleuth-esque, you can only ask about one of those things. You can say, is it in the water somewhere? So that might, narrow things down there, and you're like, okay, is it in the south side of the island?
I'm getting
so,
less excited the more you talk about it.
So yeah, as you're going
my
through it like
gosh.
that, I'm excited because, like I
course.
said, if you're excited about logic puzzles and stuff like that, this is your jam. Like, this is going to be an excellent game. You're really going to enjoy it.
Is this your number one?
You playing Sleuth, you're like, why?
I hated Sleuth.
But
Did-
at
why
least this has some
did we even do
theme.
this?
Like,
Well,
Sleuth
yeah.
doesn't feel like there's any
No.
theme at all.
Well, and
It's
Sleuth is a
pure
little bit
deduction.
older, and you've got to kind of
lot
make up.
older.
You've got to make up your own way of trying to track this stuff too. And,
Yeah.
and I didn't figure out that system, and I just kind of lost my notes halfway through. So I was just like, "Do you have any diamonds?" Like, you've already asked me that. I'm like, I don't know then. Crap.
Well, Sleuth
got
feels
so
more like
frustrated.
homework than a lot of them too, because
Yeah.
like you said, you do have to create your own notes and stuff.
I got so
whereas-
frustrated with Sleuth.
All right, so I'm going to say I'd back this because it is $29. I'm more excited about it than on the Origin of Species right now. It's not my favorite game, but I'd back it. What do you think, Greg?
Oh, I'm a pass, just because it's deduction. But I wouldn't dissuade people from checking it out. If deduction is your jam, this seems like a cool take on that genre.
Dr. Gloryhogg?
Definitely a pass.
Definitely a pass. All
It's just
right.
not my genre.
He's like, how many times do I have to say no?
And as for comments,
We will be gaming separately, Daniel. Thank you.
Alan says, y'all went in on bites, and that's not very good communication campaign. Frustrating. That is a good note, Alan. Thanks so much for letting us know that. I've not looked at bites in a while, so I
Right.
should go and take a look at that. And that's made by Board Games Table as well.
.com,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So, Derek
But
is
Bites
buying...
was a remake of an older game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that it felt like it had some pedigree there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Daniel Zayas is saying, so Derek is buying Species and Kat is buying Lima, and you two will game separately.
Well, I mean, funny enough, we did get in Marquee, which is
That's
a solo
right,
game,
your
30
solo
minutes.
game.
So when we got that in, I got excited. I was like, oh yeah, this one's solo though. I guess we'll be playing this one separately.
So Alan's a hard pass on this one, he said.
Yep, and Battle Cry is a pass
can
on this
understand that.
one. Totally understandable, guys.
It's got to be your thing, and not everything can be your thing.
Those screens are awesome. The little,
The
like,
little
having
screens
your
that they have
own
on there.
like duplication of the map and all that, which is another thing that Treasure Island had, by the way. Remember your own little.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another
you
similarity.
play
That
Treasure
is
Island?
Another
true.
similarity
That
between
is
the
true.
two.
Did you
I'm,
play-
I'm just continuing to plead my case.
Did you
that
play
there's
Treasure
so-
Island while you were in California?
Treasure Island was a one versus many game,
That's true,
though. You
that's true.
know, and you were trying to specifically find the person was trying to find the treasure,
It's
and you were trying to find the
it's similar to
person.
Treasure Island as it is to Sleuth.
Oh my gosh. Moving on. Moving on, guys.
Yikes.
All right. Next up, we have
just
Small
being
Samurai
difficult.
Empires. This is by Archona Games. It's for 2 to 4 players. It's going to last about 45 to 90 minutes. This game here, you're going to have your army that you're going to have on the board, and then you're going to be putting orders down secretly, and everybody can kind of see where you're placing the tokens in certain regions, and then During the game, you're going to flip over those tokens and carry out those things, which can be, invading a certain region or putting up a castle or, making, harvesting resources or making your army bigger. All those sort of, I guess, area control sort of actions. And the other thing that you get to do in this game, which I thought was really interesting, is lay down cards for specific regions. And then those regions end up scoring higher. I thought that was like the twist on this game, because even though you might see somebody taking over a particular region, you could just go ahead and put more cards over in this area and make those points higher that you're in.
Right.
Does that
so
make
you
sense?
can kind of manipulate the scoring.
Right.
So if like you're not doing well in a region, you can be like, well, then I'm gonna make this region more valuable. So it feels like there's flexibility.
Right.
And that probably will help with like a catch-up feel if you feel like you're trailing.
And the meeples for this are really cute. It says,
Adorable.
so this company released the space version of this
Yeah,
game
I'm
a couple
curious
years
about
back,
that.
and I'm curious how the two versions compare.
What was that called?
Me
Do you know,
too.
Daniel?
It was.
Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah, I looked at it. It was
I believe on the Kickstarter
It's
you
just
can
like
back
one
I
both.
must have missed that.
yeah, it's like one word different. I forget.
Yeah, we'll scroll down the
Oh,
Kickstarter
I did
and
see
look.
that
It's
when
like-
I looked at
it's
their
like
prior
small-
campaigns.
Yeah, it was like small.
are they that
Galaxy
similar?
Empire or something like that.
I don't think they're still area control games,
Right.
but this one has
It's
a
gotta
sort
be-
of like bidding process
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Programming as well.
There we go,
Which I
programming
don't
and
think the
stuff.
other one had, if I remember right.
No,
their
I don't
space
think
one,
so.
They, I think they did like an expansion that they did on Kickstarter also. So I think they've done at least twice
Yeah.
with the space one.
Yeah.
All right, so Greg, what are your first impressions? Small galactic empires or something. I think that's
Or
it.
something.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think you're right. This feels almost like they're trying to like do the tiny epic thing. Like we're gonna call everything small. Like they're trying to create like a brand, you know. My first impression was I'm very excited about this one.
Oh,
This looked really cool. Now I really love a game called Jiraku,
okay.
which is like a similar thing, very small, like Asian themed, like area control kind of a thing, but it's with trick taking. Whereas this is with programming.
Okay.
But this feels like a more fleshed out version of Jiraku, even though they're totally unrelated, different designers and everything. But I love that game. It's like this little hidden gem that I don't hear people really talking about. And this feels like it's going to scratch a similar itch, but it also is playable with two, which you can't do with Jiraku. So I love area control. I love that they like took what could have been a big $100, come on, that kind of thing, and made it this little like almost pocket-sized $30, skirmish, not skirmish, but area control kind of game. And so I'm all in. This is the one I'm most excited about
Which,
for sure.
speaking of, come on,
Failed.
this reminded me specifically of
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun.
It does, right?
It was like a tiny
Yeah.
version of Rising
And
Sun,
Rising
right?
Sun, I thought was good, but it
Yeah.
didn't quite click for me. It felt a little bloated, a little hard to get to the table, hard to put away, all that kind of stuff. Yes, Tiny Epic Rising Sun. Exactly.
Is this game also like Treasure Island?
No, the last one was Doug Zayas. So yeah, no, this one I was really excited about because it felt like it also did a lot with like a really simple rule set, which I always appreciate. It felt like the kind of game you could teach someone in like 3 or 4 minutes, and you'd be off and running, and you just have like a really fun, in-your-face combat area control style, game in a small package. So, yep.
Dr. Gloryhogg, what did you think?
Thoughts. Those were thoughts.
So my initial thoughts was pass, and this is why. When I looked at this Kickstarter, I was so unimpressed by the little cardboardy paper
little chits.
and little tokens and stuff. I was just like, I don't really. And then like you said about Rising Sun, like that's probably like not my favorite anymore. Like I was so excited about that one, then
Yeah.
I felt really like let down and disappointed. I'd much rather play like Blood Rage or something.
Sure.
So like and I know people are probably going to be mad at me for saying that, but yeah, I'm not super into Rising Sun.
I like Blood Rage better too.
And then production quality is really important for me. And then something you and I had talked about this has a similar feel to Game of Thrones, like 2nd edition, where
Yes.
you do your actions and then you flip them over.
Yeah.
Like, so you do them secretly and then you flip them over. And then it can be like, oh, I'm going to reinforce, or oh, I'm going to go ahead and move, or I'm going to go ahead and attack and all that. But for me, the reason why I like the Game of Thrones one is because it's huge. It plays 7 players. It's a world that I know and I like. It's got theme that I like. There's like kind of bidding over power. There's bidding over all these different things, plus the battles. So between like having read some of the books and then watching the show, of course, and everything, all that kind of comes together to make me really excited to play that game. And it's a big experience. It's like a 2-hour-ish game, I want to say. Where it's like it's your night, right? Like we have people come over, like we're gonna play this 10
absolutely.
nights.
Yeah.
Especially with all
It's your
7
main course.
players,
Yeah.
it's like
It's such a big thing.
4 hours
So
or
this
something.
being like a small kind of like cardboardy, similar type of thing that's similar to Rising Sun, but similar to some of the things you do in that game, Game of Thrones 2nd edition, I'm just like, no, I'm good. I don't need that. I have like this big epic one. I don't want to play this little fast one. Does that make sense?
You want a more epic
Okay.
experience if you're going to do area control.
If I'm going to do area control
fighting,
stuff, yeah,
all that,
I like minis for area control and or at least like feeling like I'm moving armies around and stuff. Where this feels like I'll be like, my little like paper cutout is gonna attack you. And now you lose your paper cutout, and someone's over here just like punching out like like paper clips and just putting them down and like, oh no,
No,
like
that's legit. That
he's
makes
reinforced himself with these. I like production value. That's an important part of games for me. I don't want to play a game that feels like something I could have made myself by just like cutting and pasting stuff. I feel like I could get a 1-inch hole punch or something and just make this game, and I don't want that from
I understand where you're coming from, and I totally disagree with you, but I totally understand where you're coming from because I mean, like, I could see going, why play this and if I can just play Blood Rage or play something that just is beautiful, you know?
I feel like you could literally take this rule book and then you could just outsource these pieces and probably still get it for less than $20, and it would still be just as fulfilling. So, and I'm not a proponent of that. I'm not like saying like, oh yeah, go out and copy this game. I know people do that, and people get the print and plays and all that, but I don't like print and plays. I want a game that like I'm excited to open up.
So Ben says, LOL, wait, Game of Thrones in 2 hours? That's crazy. How could I ever believe Derek's playtime estimates ever again?
Did it take you longer than that?
With a 7-player game, that was like half a day.
Yeah,
that's one of the things you said you liked is the more player count, too. So.
Yeah, I guess with more, I don't know. So the first time we learned it.
And then if you have to teach anyone.
So the first time we learned it, me and my buddy John, we were doing it at a convention. We got it done in 2 hours. To be fair, I was the Starks. He was Greyjoys. He was fighting people because like they wouldn't stop attacking him, so he kind of fought people. I consolidated the North like they should have done in the show, and I marched down south, and I said, hey, Greyjoys, I'm going to be marching through your territory here. And he was like, cool, man, shake and bake. Boom, fist bump, took it over, won the game. It was over, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the exception.
But I guess with 7 players, you're right. It would go longer. That's true. We have played longer.
But see, my feeling is I'm less and less excited about 2-hour experiences because I just know they don't get to the table.
But it's Game of Thrones. It's
no, I'm not saying like it's appropriate for Game of Thrones.
Do you want a 15-minute commercial about Game of Thrones, or do you want to watch 8 seasons?
But I love that this is something I'm going to play 100 times more than I'm going to play.
I'd rather play my Game of Thrones
2-hour
once a year on the anniversary when the first episode showed than play this 100 times.
All right, so Daniel's saying, to Derek's point, I would be more invested in this theme if there was less of a generic samurai theme attached to
like,
it.
At least make it like I don't know, give them different factions
or historical
something.
or something.
Make one of them Tom Cruise. One of them could be the last samurai.
No.
He saved Tom Cruise literally saved Japan. It was going to crap before he got there. He saved that country.
Oh my gosh. Yes, and Ben,
feel free to quote me. Tom Cruise saved Japan.
Ben, I totally agree. If you're going to be playing these Game of Thrones 2nd edition, at least 3-4 hours plus. Like, you are taking a day to play that game.
Yeah.
It's a serious game, but it's a lot of fun.
But if the Starks and the Greyjoys join forces, you can get it done in 2 hours. Just saying.
Pro tip,
don't be a Theon.
If I didn't want to spend 4 hours playing that game, I'm going to play this tiny samurai game.
Does it have solo? Because no, you're not.
I like the fact that you're
you.
secretly programming your
I'll
actions in different regions. I love the fact that you're making sure some regions become better than other regions, so you can kind of sway your points values and stuff in there. I love the fact that it does leave a lot of opportunity to be open and be like, oh, I'm going to go over here and attack this area and kind of collude with people. Just in the fact of after playing Game of Thrones, you kind of already have that built in you, you know? So it's like an area control game that has a little bit of meat to it, but it isn't so ridiculously big and long that it's going to take all day.
Yeah.
How could you never join with the Greyjoys? We do not sow. They do not sow. They just take, and that's fine.
I actually think this is kind of pretty looking, too. I kind of like the minimalist. It almost reminds me like Takedo or something where there's not a lot going on, but it still kind of just has like a simple elegance to it.
I agree with Battlecry. What is this, a game for ants? How are you going to play this? It's so small.
I got to play Jiraki with you guys sometime if you haven't played that one.
And I think, DrGloryhogg, you went ahead and were looking at it, and you were looking at the picture with all of the little, like, squares on it, and you were like, what is this crap? Just squares? And you're like, I was like, no.
It has
They're going to be samurai meeples and stuff like that.
I guess that helps.
Some meeples.
And if one of them is Tom Cruise, you have to make him run really fast across the board.
Yeah.
He always books at full speed in every movie.
Guys, this was my top pick.
Mine too.
Was it?
High five.
Yeah.
I knew it was your top
This
pick.
is by far the one I'm most excited about. That's why I predicted it for you, because I was like, he seems like a smart guy.
Oh.
You thought wrong.
I don't know what it is. It just felt like they packed so much into it. I really like that when it's like there's like more than you expect. It's like you guys with this
Are
one,
you ready?
right?
So
Are you
sad,
ready?
yeah.
The smart gamer would actually pick the Darwin
Oh.
game, not some generic samurai game.
And
That's it.
this one had some more pull quotes and videos and stuff. It felt like a good campaign as well.
I felt like this one was going to be easy to teach to people, but I'm still going to get in my whole like super awesome area control
Yeah.
stuff that I
and
like
lots
doing.
of replayability, I think, too.
That's what I thought.
Because like you said, you might be able to manipulate the scoring and stuff.
But where's Loki? Where's Yggdrasil? Like we
if
need
this was
some
an
Viking
Asgard
theme.
themed
Are you
game,
just anti-samurai themed?
No, I'm not anti-samurai. I mean, I have The Last Samurai on DVD. How could I be
What
anti-samurai?
are these
Because
DVDs you speak of?
that's the judge of everything right
I have
there.
a
The
DVD
Last
of
Samurai.
The Last Samurai. I like Keanu Reeves. He's basically a modern-day samurai.
All right, well, for $29, Greg, would
That's
you
the
back
thing.
that?
That's the thing. Yeah,
That's the thing.
I
That's
like,
what he can spend. That's what his wife allows him to spend.
Only
on
$29.
Kickstarter.
Well, I really love Jiraku, and this felt like something that would like took that idea, fleshed it out a little bit, added programming and a 2-player count. So I'm really excited about this one. So I'm in.
Dr. Gloryhogg.
I'm a pass. It just doesn't look exciting to me. It might be great. It's a cheap investment, but it just overall didn't wow me. I was just like, I've got other stuff that I feel like I would enjoy more.
This game here, I feel like I can teach it to a lot of people. I like the fact that it does have a simple coloring to it. Everything's easy to see. It looks pretty but minimalistic, and
Like me.
it's one of my favorite sort of themes.
Pretty
Area
but
control,
minimalistic.
guys. Like it hopped the loot of Lima for me because I was like, logic puzzles. Why do logic puzzles when I can murderize people? Like,
Fair.
come on.
Yeah,
I
I
love
knew-
a good area
I knew this
control
was
game.
hers because she like straight up messaged me. She's like, "Oh, what about this one? Is that one on the list?" And I was like, "No." And she was like,
and I was like,
"You should
put
look."
it on the
She's
list.
like, and I looked at it. I was like, "You want this one on there?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay."
And it made me interested enough that I am interested to see what their previous space game was all about.
Yeah.
So, like, I might end up getting that one as well.
I think
we'll see.
I'm more of a sci-fi theme than a samurai theme.
Are
so I am
you?
curious about
Oh,
those
so
Alright.
you
as well.
hate Japan?
No, I just hate Tom Cruise.
Oh my
Stop
god.
jumping on the couch.
I
No
know,
one believes you.
Right? All right. Moving on, guys.
Never. I'll never move
Oh
on.
my, I bet everybody's
From The
super
Last
excited.
Samurai.
Everybody's probably super excited about this game. This is Titan, not Titans like
Right.
last week. This is Titan.
We covered both Titan games.
We did, by Holy Grail Games. And this one here is more of a worker placement game, but this is the one with the giant 3D board.
It's a strip mine.
You're basically placing little items to go ahead and pull minerals from the surface, and you're trying to work little robots in there and take minerals from different areas and stuff. And the interesting thing about this game is that as you're building all of these things aren't necessarily owned by you. As you start placing minerals and things on the board, any player can just go and pick those up. So it actually has a lot of take that built into it.
Kind of, but you don't fully lose stuff whenever you do things. Like, there are some take that. Like, you can block stuff by like placing a guy there, and so like nobody else can kind of get there. But then you can also share like the bots and everything too.
Right, but you can also take minerals from, like, if you're making like a little hub like this.
Yeah, you can
With
kind of
those minerals
ruin it.
there, somebody
Right.
else can run over there with robots and stuff and like be like, "Oh,
But
I need these."
I feel like the
right?
biggest take that is you can drop pollution on people, and so then they have pollution in their scoreboard until they can get rid of it.
Oh,
That's like the biggest
okay.
like take that thing you can do.
And another thing about this is as you're placing those pipes there like this, that also acts as your stores for resources.
I like
so
that resource management
yeah,
aspect.
you can't take too many without getting those pipes out of there. So, Greg, what was your first impressions of this?
Well, you mentioned the board. I mean, that just jumps off the table. It looks so cool. It comes together in like these little pie slices, and you assemble it. And I love the different layers. I mean, I could imagine a version of this 10 years ago where it's just and actually, there's a game called Rockwell that's a mining game that has like that kind of.
I have that game.
You have that game?
Yeah, I
So-
bought it from Dan. I haven't played it
So
yet.
this reminds me of it, but that one's flat. You
oh,
know what I mean?
so I don't need to back this then.
No, it's very different. But just the board shape, that idea to have it kind of raised and have the tiers. I mean, I don't know if that's a gimmick, but it definitely adds to like the I'm curious what this is about. Now, as you dig deeper into it, it just felt like another Euro resource management, terraforming Mars-ish kind of theme game. I don't know how excited I am about that, but I love the look of it.
It looks
I enjoyed
amazing.
Terraforming Mars, but I also played it like 2 years after it came out, which by then I'd heard all the hype, but like I didn't
yeah,
feel
I was
the
a
hype,
little late to that
so
one
I gotta
too.
I gotta play it. Well, I enjoyed it more that way.
And this game is not like Treasure Island.
Are you sure? I mean, you are going and trying to find minerals like treasures
That is true.
in the game. You're
Come
searching those
on,
out.
people. The other two games
I
were
mean-
so similar.
So when I first looked at this one, I really feel like it reminded me kind of Pipeline, which is a game that we backed.
It reminded me of Space Pirates, personally.
Okay. So it reminded me of Pipeline, which is another game we backed, which is all about like kind of like that resource management, like
Yeah.
real resources, like oil
Running your
or
business.
whatever, like, and then like trying to kind of mitigate things and everything, and trying to build like an engine a little bit. This one is obviously more Euro based. The thing about this one, I'll say, is the theme is way more exciting. Like I played the other one, Pipeline, and the theme just doesn't really do anything for me. I'm like, cool, we're like refining oil, yay! It just
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for me. But this one at least feels more exciting because you're like, you've got little bots and drones, and you can take people's pipes, and you're trying to make little connections. And it feels like this one has just more going to it than just me playing a little solo game by myself, which is what I felt like Pipeline was like.
Well, this is definitely more interactive.
Oh, yeah, hugely more
Yeah.
interactive with what you're doing on the board.
Alan said when he saw it at the UKGE walkthrough, he just shot up and shot like, what?
Yeah, I mean
Is
that's
that a
definitely
circle?
the selling point. Is just
Yeah,
that
the table presence.
It
Did
has
you
the
think of
wow
the pictures
factor.
and stuff? I mean, come on, that's Instagram bait right there.
Mhm.
Do it for the
So
hashtag. Do it for the gram.
Martin says there's something about the game coloring versus the reading UI on the board that bugs me. I can't quite place my finger on it, but some of the symbolism blends in a little on the board. That's really interesting.
And I wonder,
okay.
but I also do wonder how much of that's
could
going to
see
be
that.
different in production, as far as like,
Yeah,
you know, will
Mhm.
some of the colors be varied and everything? Because once
hopefully.
the production copy you get made to show up on the Kickstarter versus the one you get made in mass, sometimes you go with a different company to make the mass ones. The colors will be slightly different. Like,
I want a triple decker pizza game now.
Deep
know,
dish pizza.
That would be
I will say
awesome,
New York
right?
Slice is a fun game. And that
Oh, that
comes
is really
and that
good.
comes in a pizza
You could
box.
put like all your little mushrooms on there, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is my little meaty palace over here," and start decorating your pizza and like,
and they look pretty
That would be
it
fun,
looks pretty
right?
real.
yeah,
A New York slice.
it
Like, if
is.
you're
It
not
is
careful,
good.
if
Oh,
you're, like,
you're right
having
next to each
pizza
other.
at the same time.
Well, the box as it is, it's like the little. You open up the pizza box, and there's all your
It's like the
pieces
cookie
in
in
there,
hats.
right?
Yeah, the cookie and hats. I just want to eat that cookie.
I just want that cookie. My daughter was obsessed with that cookie.
Oh, Ellen says the Chicago style pizza gone
This
bad.
is real
Yeah,
deep dish.
it's sunken. It's a sunken.
It looks like a
Chicago one.
cheese wheel, actually.
Cheese wheel.
This game for me, I was excited when I first saw this. When I first saw the board, like on Instagram or wherever I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this game?" Because I, for some reason, thought it was gonna like spin or something, like things were gonna move.
Oh,
yeah.
that would be
You know?
awesome. Like the inner
Yeah,
rings.
Exactly, and that like you could move it, and then that would give you access to different things. And then, sadly, whenever I started actually going into the campaign, I was like, "This does nothing I thought it was gonna do." Like I am so
Okay.
disappointed because of my own thoughts of this.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
just created something that
I
never
did.
existed.
I
About it-
did.
Just
and
put
then
it
it
on a,
didn't measure up to it.
Just put it on a Lazy Susan and spin that bad boy. Then it still spins.
You spinning all the pieces.
The
you're like,
resources fly everywhere.
yeah, and you're like, all
I will
right,
hey,
new
based
game.
off of the production of this, I don't think this is like, you know who made this game? It was somebody who just got like a 3D printer. They're like, let's get going. Let's make a game with like little droids that'll hold the little cubes. This is a 3D printer's like just dream right
I
here.
just want the Gloryhound like event card that's like, all right, find a lazy Susan,
spin it.
spin it.
Whatever resources stay on, whatever
Right.
resources fly off the board are yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm not really sure actually what I think of this game, and I don't know if it's because I had this idea in my mind of what it was gonna be,
There you go.
and then when I actually started going into it, I was like,
It's all about
dang it.
expectations.
Yeah, this isn't what I had wanted specifically, but I think it's a really unique theme with having all the little drones going through there and then being able to take things from different areas and stuff, and you're really setting up and planning things. And I love Euro games.
you love that style of game, typically.
Right. I love Euro games. As far as though, like, if somebody's gonna like attack my resources, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, I'm gonna be
It's
pissed.
not gonna go well.
I'm gonna get angry. Like, and I don't know if that also deters me from the game a little bit.
That was part of what you liked about Terraforming Mars is that although people call it like multiplayer solitaire, like I couldn't directly just take your stuff.
So I'm like a strategic planning gamer. So when I make a plan and I have my plan 12 turns out, if somebody messes with my plan, like I'm like, all right, So you want to die today? Is that what you want?
But here's the
Is that
thing.
what you want today?
But it is
She
frustrating
has-
when you've invested that much time and you
Right.
think you've got it planned
Right.
out, and then someone's like, I'm just going to steal that resource. And you're like, oh, great.
But here's the thing,
I got to
though.
rethink everything.
Right.
She has no problem screwing up over other people. She'll play a 2-hour game just to be like, I'm the traitor. Happy birthday to me. No problem with that. She steals. So when we used to play Lords of Waterdeep all the time, the card she got every single time was Inevitable Betrayal, and she'd steal my resources right at the very end, so I couldn't finish my last stupid quest, and then we would like tie, or I would lose by a couple points. Every time.
Don't
she'd always
let
be like,
everybody know.
But at least
So
that's
she's
a
fine.
45-minute game.
right, but she's super okay with stealing other people's stuff. It's when her stuff gets stolen that she's like, wait. Did you steal
Wait,
my stuff?
guys,
She'll
hold
get
up.
She'll get mad in a drafting game. She's like, I was going to draft that. It's like, too bad. Like, I don't care what you're
You
doing. Like, I'm
snooze,
trying
you
to win
lose.
over here.
The parts that I really enjoy about this game are the materials that you're trying to take in, the pipes you're trying to get out, and trying to create that balance. And I think for me, that would be the most interesting part of this game. It is a $90 game, though, and
Yeah, it's pricey.
rightfully so, though, for this gigantic 3D style board and all these 3D
doesn't
mini
spin.
pieces and stuff. That doesn't spin, although it does look like it's spinning here, right? It does look like it's spinning right there.
It
Okay.
does.
But it does not
False
spin, guys.
So does
Advertising.
that piece.
Okay.
All of them. They all. Oh my God, they all spin. That's a hex bug. That's just one of those little hex bugs. Those little motorized bugs, and you just put a cube on it.
So I don't know.
Are we
about
all in the
this.
try before you buy camp here?
I
It feels
don't
like we kind of all
know.
are.
Well, the price is what got
Yeah,
me
because of
Yeah.
the price, I
And-
assume.
because this would have probably been my number one if it wasn't for the price. But
This looks like it has the potential to be the best game of the four.
It does.
yeah.
But it's expensive enough that I can understand the hesitance
So Daniel
to
says
jump in.
that's actually an aggressive price for the 3D board. And
It
I
is.
totally agree that this, for everything you are getting in this game, $90 is a fantastic
Yeah,
price.
it feels very reasonable.
Yeah, because you're not getting just like little chits and everything. No, you're getting like plastic pieces of everything that's been molded in certain ways so they look like pipes and they look like little drones and they look like bases.
Yeah, and the little
like
resources fit into slots built into the board
Right,
and stuff. It's an
right.
impressive sort of engineering feat.
Absolutely.
Even if you can't play it because you don't like the game, you could take some really awesome pictures of it.
Pretend like
And
you played
people
it.
would just think that, like, oh man, this guy must play this game all the time. But you're just taking pictures at home on a Friday. Hey, we've all been there.
Okay, so we have upgrade to the Gloryhoundd Deluxe version. Order the Lazy Susan from IKEA.
We've talked about
100%.
that.
We
There's
need
a
to
lot
do
of
that.
games that it would benefit you
Guys,
to spin the board.
And you know what? I have like hard time sometimes reaching over tables because like I'm short usually. So like that Lazy
Long
Susan,
nails.
like that's
Well,
the
you
way to
don't-
go,
If
right?
you're going,
I don't think you want- it's not.
It's more
not
like-
Wheel of Fortune.
it's more like slowly, slowly.
Bring it around, bring it around.
slowly. Oh
No,
my
that's how I
God.
get the extra resources right there. Okay.
Everything that flies off.
What are you playing on there, Terror in Meeple City? Zzz, all the guys at Flaff got eaten by the dinosaur.
All right, Greg.
I'm a pass, but I'd love to try
Pass.
it. I hope it becomes available, and if I get a chance to try it, I could see picking it up.
Dr. Gloryhogg.
I'm interested in it, but I have to pass. It's a try before you buy, just because of the price. But it's a good price. I just don't want to spend $90 on it. I don't feel that invested in it.
I'm on the fence, guys. Like
Yeah.
I'm super curious about it.
You're tempted.
I'm just afraid that my expectations kind of like ruined it for me, which I don't know. I kind of feel bad about that. It does have some cool looking stuff though with it, with all the expansions and everything. You can all come over and play it when it comes. All
Alan's
right,
in,
there we
man.
go,
Alan's
Alan. There we
excited.
go.
You did make a good
I
point
think-
about the expansions, because they have like some alien expansions and some science expansions that kind of add some different stuff to it, which is kind of interesting.
It
Out
does
of
seem like you're getting a lot of games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And out of all of these, absolutely, this is the one with the highest production value. Like it looks amazing. I don't see why you wouldn't want to back this game at this point. It looks fantastic. Out of all the games that we've reviewed or looked at over the past, I want to say like, 2 or 3 weeks, I think this has been the most interesting one because of like the stylized board with all the pieces and everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's the most unique one that I think I've seen this month that I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we
Sure.
had the one with like the light up pieces and stuff. I mean,
Oh,
that was
Beyond
Oh, that's
Colony.
true.
that
That's
one was
true.
pretty exciting.
Beyond
and
Colonies one
innovative
was.
looking and
Yeah.
stuff too.
All right.
She forgot about that one, guys.
That is, I did forget about that one.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell with these, because they're so. It feels like there's a lot going on. It's really hard to tell until you've played it. If it's going to feel laggy, if it's going to feel slow, if there's AP. Anytime you get like a big, epic kind of Euro style experience, it you really have to try it first, in my opinion, because it can seem cool, and then you play it and you're like, oh, this just doesn't quite work. It feels clunky.
That's happened.
It feels, you know what I mean?
All right. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do more research on this game, and I'm gonna go and investigate. And I'm gonna look at more stuff, and then I will get back to you guys, okay? Because like I am not ready to let this go and be like, meh, try before I buy or anything like that. But I'm not ready to like hit the button. It has been. Okay. It has been at cons.
It doesn't seem like anyone has played it.
Essen, I want to say.
Oh, and he mentioned UK Gaming Expo.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is my take on it, and I hope that in the future I cannot get as excited about boards moving in different directions, all sorts of craziness to ruin my stuff.
Susan, it's okay. We will get one. Like
next time there's a game night, she's just gonna be in the corner spinning a Lazy Susan. This is more fun than all the games.
I'm just gonna get her that old like Wheel of Fortune game, which actually did not have a spinning wheel. I don't think.
So
what about Life?
Guys, everybody in the comments, let me know what your guys' favorite game was for this week. I know that Alan was saying that this is his most exciting game. Titan was. Daniel's all about Loot of Lima.
Daniel's wrong, but that's okay.
Oh.
Well, if you're a deduction person, Loot of Lima looks awesome.
Yes, it does.
Oh, and Ellen is saying, so guys, South Park this week, wow, was that a deep dive into tabletop gaming?
Yeah.
I did hear about it, but I haven't seen the episode yet. I'm going to have to be checking that out.
Board Game Breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have to talk about goat dice, guys. Okay, so last week we had talked about at the end of the show the 2 dice things that I was backing. One of them was Dispel Dice, which is a person that I followed for, I don't know, over a year now, trying to get dice from them. And they finally went and took it to Kickstarter. So I'm super happy about that. Goat Dice. Listen to these shenanigans here, okay?
Well, most of this is still... Don't be all lawyery, but you don't know for sure any of this stuff is true.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on here?
Gosh.
Goat Dice got canceled because
suspended.
the person who was running it is going to jail, it seems like. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it seems like the person who's running it is going to jail, was convicted of something, and so obviously can't run a Kickstarter campaign from jail. So.
Well, he was convicted of, what is it? It wasn't like embezzling or something. It was like...
You said racketeering?
Racketeering. There we go. It was for racketeering. So they closed that Kickstarter campaign stuff.
It was small stuff.
Closed down.
I know, but just racketeering sounds so like old-timey gangster.
And Alan's saying, but the point is, if the guy's going to jail, can he still pull it off?
Man, you need money for, cigarettes and...
Hey, it happens, man. Like, I mean, it was a newer campaign.
It was a newer campaign creator and stuff.
That can happen. You still have a risk when you do Kickstarter, but...
Right.
I mean, I'm not completely turned off because of that. Like, I would do another one. Like, obviously it got canceled, so we didn't lose any money.
No, we didn't lose any money. I had backed at the $30 tier so I could get, 1 dice. I was really excited about it. It was really unique and interesting looking idea because it was this dice that had, this swirly glitter liquid in it. Super excited and everything, and I did some serious investigation after it was canceled. I went through and I looked through all the different comments that people were talking about, and I looked at the page where it had, where he's going to be going to jail and stuff like that. It was on a news page and stuff, and it's just really interesting. And since we review Kickstarters, board game Kickstarters specifically, I know a lot of what to look at for board game Kickstarters. This was an incredibly great opportunity for me to see what it looks like for a failed dice Kickstarter. So in the future, I'm excited that I learned that and that now I know what to look for those particular campaigns, because the big thing for that one was they weren't producing enough pictures and enough content and stuff like that. They had only original content and nothing else.
To be fair, though, I'm kind of with Luke on this.
Yeah.
The campaign could have been 100% legitimate.
Oh, absolutely.
What he was charged with was something to do with gift cards, had nothing to do with Kickstarter, had nothing to do with these dice. We don't know that they were connected. He could have thought, oh, I'm clear of this and I'm not going to jail. And so he was trying to do his own thing and maybe start something new, a new path.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about forgiveness. I don't think that they were connected. It just sucks that the person who was in charge of it ended up having the whole campaign fail because they got sent to jail.
Yeah, and there were some other additional things where the campaign just got out of control with commenters going back and forth about things. I mean, it became just a huge, messy storm. And I don't think...
Gamers love drama, and sometimes it just festers and turns into such a
like
crap show.
people
I'll
start to
say.
feel like they were personally attacked. I'm
Yeah.
like, it was
Well-
canceled. He didn't attack us. He
People-
didn't steal money from me.
People have been freaking out about Reavers of Midgard because the card stock they don't feel like is as thick as it's supposed to be. I mean, people will find reasons to complain. So if something like this happens, that's kind of a big deal. Like
Yeah.
a guy going to jail, I could totally see how it would get out of
And
control.
that was really interesting too, because it was like some person had been doing research on it and had now seen that thing, then posted the article, and then it just like, and it blew up in like on November 13th or something. So it was like,
yeah.
and then 14th it got canceled, and it was like, bam, it was done. I was like, oh my gosh. Like
Things-
that
thing-
happens
things
fast.
happen fast with-
That happens so
on the internet.
fast.
especially with stuff like Kickstarter, it kind of has to happen fast. So it is what it is. But that means it's now your opportunity to make these dice, and we will back you.
That's a lot of extra work.
Do you have
for
what it
stuff,
takes to be
guys.
the greatest of all time?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot
Do
of
you
extra
wanna
work.
be the
I would
very
love
best?
if anybody can make those dice.
The
I would
best
love
there
some of
ever
those.
was?
It'd be fantastic.
To make
The
dice
best around.
is my real test.
No one's ever gonna get me down.
To spin them is my cause. We're singing two different songs. You could travel across the. I know what you're doing. You're doing Karate Kid. I was doing
The
Pokemon.
iPod's on shuffle. I don't know what's going on.
I was doing Pokemon. She was doing Karate Kid. I feel like overall my franchise would win in that
All
battle.
right. Thank you everybody who joined us today. And we are not going to PAX Unplugged. I wish I was, like, really badly, but it just didn't work out for us. But I hope that you guys have an amazing time going to
Take
PAX.
pictures,
Yeah,
send us
absolutely.
pictures.
I'm going to be living vicariously through you guys and all
Alan,
the fun
we
you're
expect
having.
you to
Okay.
play these games that you said you were interested in.
Absolutely.
I
Play
wanna
all the
report
games.
back.
If you guys, oh, and also, like, as a Steve Jackson Games sort of announcement, they have Car Wars coming up. If you are going to PAX Unplugged, go to the Steve Jackson Games booth and play Car Wars. It is so good, guys. So good. I am so freaking excited about it. You guys are going to hear more about it. It's like a Demolition Derby style game with
Which
like
sounds
a
awesome.
post-apocalyptic like setting. So you're running
Mad Max.
around, yeah, Mad Max style. You're running around like shooting other players' cars and stuff, and your car's like outfitted with all these different guns and different drivers and stuff like that.
That sounds awesome.
And you get to choose your different type of car that you're using and stuff. Like, it is so cool, and they streamlined it so well where it's almost like an X-Wing style build to it, where you have little range rulers and rolling dice.
Luke L recommends it. He liked it years ago.
Yeah, it's super good, guys. So look forward to that and all of the coverage that we're going to do and stuff. And jail or no jail, says Ben, I still want those dice.
I'm with Ben.
Totally agree.
Get us those dice.
Find somebody to make them, Ben. I will still pay money
He's
for
got
those
a lot
dice.
of time. If he's going to be in jail, I mean, he might as well be making dice. You
Ben,
know?
is this a new project for you guys?
Now
I mean,
somebody needs to make these right now, okay?
Hey.
I just want the dice.
Now you were interviewed for something.
Oh, I sure was.
I, wanna
sure
know, tell me-
was.
yeah, what was that all
That
about?
was game night. So if you guys look on our Twitter account, so at Gloryhoundd on our Twitter, we have a link there, and I did like a little interview. It's like a late night sort
yeah,
of
I've
board game
seen
show and
clips
stuff.
From it, yeah.
They are like, it's so cute. It's so adorable because it's set up the way a late night show would. You're not necessarily talking all about board games, but
Right.
you're being personable, you know,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about your life and then like your
cool.
introduction to board games, kind of what's going on with you and stuff. And we
They
talked
didn't-
about streaming
They
a little
didn't
bit.
interview the cat, like.
They didn't, but she did make her guest appearance at the end of the show, guys.
Of
Okay,
course,
at the
of
very
course.
end of the show, she came in, and I ended up playing a board game. We ended up playing Welcome To as well. So they do
Oh,
it in two
cool.
different segments.
That's
it was
funny
a
because
ton
I
of fun.
was playing a game also during this time. Magic the Gathering Arena. No big deal.
And yes, Daniel. Daniel says, I love Steve Jackson Games. As an institution, I trust them with whatever project. You know, Phil puts so much love and work into everything that goes on there, and so does Steve. You know, Steve is still on board, bringing back things that he loved, and he's like renewing them and making them into something that fits today's market. And they're doing some amazing stuff. They're doing an amazing job on all the dice that they have there. They're doing an amazing job with their production quality and stuff that they're bringing to the table. Like, Car Wars is going to be great. It's going to have playmats. It's going to have all these different types of cars that you can get. It's in a style that you can get other cars and put them on there. Like, they're really moving things up. I think the company was associated with sort of like an older style gaming.
they've been
group.
around a long
yeah,
time.
It's been
Right.
around for a really long
Yeah.
time.
And I think now they're bringing it into a newer gamer style thing, you know, more
They're
accessible to
continuing
everybody.
to innovate,
Right.
continuing to try to keep up with where the market's
But
going.
we
But
don't
keeping
cover
a lot
lot
of
of it because a lot of it doesn't necessarily go to Kickstarter. A lot of it they're able just to put out.
Well, they're an
onto the market.
established company. They don't really need.
Well, and they do some
Kickstarter
RPG stuff and everything too.
Yeah.
So like the RPG stuff we don't necessarily cover. So
as much. Yeah.
sorry guys, the end of this was so long. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you guys figure out who's going to make those dice, let me know. Anything else?
What's your email?
Nope. You can find me on social media under DrGloryhogg. That's
Send him your bushy pictures.
Oh,
Nope.
we love you
We're not
guys.
letting that die.
Thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll see you next week.